not all done in a day. Sometimes it's not that person that you ask, because they may lie or they may not know the correct answers. I believe people change over time. Most of the times, people that you ask questions and they tell you, they are not even lying. But years down the line, due to changes in circumstances, in their situations, their relationship with you, and the entire environment, things change. If you had asked me any of these questions 20 years ago, the answer I'll give you would be completely different to how I'm acting now. So there's no clear-cut date and time and venue. That's why sometimes you make inquiries from the background, the person's workmates, the person's neighbors, the person's friends, the person's relatives, the person's staff, the person's subordinates, the person's superiors. There's a lot of place where you gather intelligence. So you can ask questions, but it doesn't always give you an accurate answer of what your life will be.
But what if you're going to ask questions and then you go and ask, maybe if it's in an office, a babe who's looking at the guy wanting to marry him and probably never really got around to open up. And then lo and behold, because you feel she's nice, you go to ask her about the man you want to marry, you're already dead on arrival.
For me, I feel like this thing is very dicey. When we talk about relationship and those questions, like what the man said, the pastor said, I think as humans, as a woman, we need to understand the relationship, the marriage thing from different perspectives, a man and a woman. For us women, we are naturally equipped to multitask. For example, a woman, I can be here thinking of what I'm cooking in the house. I will be thinking of my child, thinking of my husband. Like our brain just keeps going on, and we naturally don't get tired from those things. But a man doesn't function that way. A man is, let's eat this, tomorrow sort itself. Like most men are straightforward. So you need to try and understand that about a man and this about a woman to know when to ask these questions. Example, he talked about credit cards. Let me see how much money do you have? Some men wouldn't find offense in it. Like, okay, do you have money? Yes, no. And then you'd be like, is he joking? Is he actually giving me the answer I want? You are not even understanding. When you ask and he gives you an answer, you're not even sure if you've gotten the answer you want. Is this the actual truth you want, or you want to hear what you want to hear? So it's dicey. I feel like you need to study the person or spend a lot of time with the person.
Yes.
I think the more time you spend with the person, the more revelation you get. Does it snow at night?
Yes, of course.
Does it snow at night? How does he react when he's offended?
Snow at night, that's a horror.
No, it's true. There's some people who can't deal with these things, but because you've never seen him sleep, you don't know where he runs, he sleepwalks, you don't really know certain things about him because you've not spent time with him, and then you go and marry, or because he has come to do the one that is everywhere on social media now, kneel down, carry ring, will you marry me? And then you say yes, and then you're in your mother's house, people are there planning marriage. He's there living a doubled life. The pastor clearly stated that, is he into men? The reality is upon us now. Most men are doing this thing, and because of religion, because of society, culture, we don't want to talk about this thing, but it is happening. So you really need to spend
boys' timeouts. They said they're hanging out with the boys.
Exactly.
And they're actually doing.
So you need to spend time with the person. For me personally, I need to see you hang out with your boys. I need to be in that boys mix to see how you behave when you are drunk. Not really drunk per se, intoxicated, or maybe have a little alcohol in your system. I need to see the kind of things you say. Because honestly speaking, some men are very composed, very put together until there's a little liquor in the brain. And then you start seeing a direct opposite. That behavior you're seeing, are you okay with it? Because if you are there and he's doing that, imagine what will happen when you are not there. Are you okay with what you are seeing? The things that is coming out from his mouth, are you okay with it? So you have to spend time with the person.
Yes,
there is
definitely.
no two ways about it.
For me, I would say that it's important for you to know the person's personality in total, not just one aspect, because at the end of the day, you're going to be settling down with him. You're going to be living with him, and you have to deal with anything that he turns out to be. If he used to be like the Prince Charming and in the house, it turns out to be the beast. What are you going to have to do? What will you do? Can you deal with it? Will you be able to survive it? So I feel it's necessary for us to know who we are dating. From that moment where we're dating, we also need to know who his friends are. What kind of places does he hang out? What does he like to do? Okay? What kind of job does he keep? And I don't think it's rude to ask about the financial status too. You have to know, does he have any debts? Before you go into the marriage, and then you have people coming to knock on your door every day. Oh, God, pay me my money. You owe me this, you owe me that. These are very, very important things. And there are so many other things too. Excuse me, I'll say it. You can say whatever you like about me, but I'd say that it's also important for you to know about the person's sexuality.
Oh, definitely.
Very, very important. So that we don't end up traveling into a black hole and we think that we are going into a marriage.
You know, speaking of black hole and sexuality, we're going to say something, Haja?
Yeah, but I can.
Okay,
because
so I recall a story. It's not a story that was told to me. It's a wedding I attended. You know, the lady, the young man who was an usher in the church, a choir member and all that, all those, you know, I feel all right church boys, you know, and it was looking very elegant. Everybody wanted to be with him. Lo and behold, he married a young girl. And before the marriage, the girl wanted to, you know, copulate, so to speak, and he didn't want it. He said it was unbiblical. It was not religious and all that, and that he was preserving himself for the day. The girl felt, oh, I was marrying somebody that is, you know, holy, a saint. And she went in full time. After the wedding night, she expected things to happen. Nothing happened. She took it, the man was tired. The next night, she expected something to happen. Lo and behold, the man said that he's praying, that he's doing 7 days prayer.
All right.
You know, because he needed to pray for the marriage. They were just, the journey they were about to start. This girl said, this pastor that I go marry, this one is different. But no problem. 7 days finished, nothing was happening. She began to raise alarm. They actually did copulate eventually, but nothing happened. You know, she wasn't getting pregnant. Eventually, she started the process. You know, it's always the woman. Why are you not pregnant? Blah, 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 and all that. She went to the hospital, nothing was wrong with her. She changed hospital, checked again, nothing was wrong with her. She called her husband, bro, let's go and do this thing. And the man said, no, I'm okay. Do you know how many ladies I got pregnant before I became born again Christian? You know, eventually, the girl had to use cunning means to get the man's semen to get tested. Lo and behold, that man wasn't pregnant. It wasn't functional, really. So she began to scream out, went back to the pastor, raised alarm, and they called the man, tested him. They found out that he was impotent. And it wasn't something that happened to him. He had mumps. You know, mumps children have as kid. And he wasn't properly treated, and it got him sterile. And he never knew. When he found out was much more when he was older, you know, and he knew, he didn't want to tell anybody. He felt he could marry a girl, and then maybe with time the girl will begin to live with it, or as the society will do, blame the girl. And I keep wondering, why would people want to lie
You see, that's stupidity
in
on
a
his
relationship that is going to last forever?
part. This is a lifetime union, and that is the kind of lies that can break a relationship, a marriage.
Of course, they are not married anymore.
That's the like kind of lies that can break a marriage, you know, because it has to do with something that connects both of you. If it was, let's say, personality traits, do you have bald hair, those petty things that, you know, you can live with. But this, nobody should put anybody's child in that situation, you know, because you now turn her to a depressed woman, a sad woman. She would always try to explain to somebody why she hasn't taken in, oh, my husband.
And in the eye of society, she'll look like she's the one with the problem.
No, but you put her in a position where she can't defend herself, and it's a deal breaker. It's definitely a no-no. However, you know, the foolishness of man is such that we can't take advantage of medicine. You are impotent. Why don't you try to explore other options? IVF, surrogates. You know, there's so many options. People don't see it, but the same God we serve gave the humans that wisdom to come up with these options. You should have discussed this with the lady. If she says yes, then you start exploring. Okay, which one are we going to go with? Is it expensive? Is it cost effective? What are we doing? So that she knows if she's going in there with her 2 head, her 2 leg, her body and soul. Okay, oh, he is impotent, but I love him. I'm going to try out so and so and so option. That is what I think.
Just before, I don't mean to cut you in. The questions we're raising here, we actually started off without a man, but I know that Chooks is somewhere. Please come in and defend the men.
Please, you're setting me up.
I am not setting you up.
Chooks.
Look at it. I'm really scared.
Social distance again. Please sit down.
Wow.
So yes.
Am I free to sit?
Very
Yes,
good.
please, you're
Sit down.
welcome. Have a seat.
Okay, please welcome him.
Hope you've not been shredding the men.
No, we are trying not
No, we
to.
just want to find out a few things. But let's start from Zainab. You were saying something earlier. Maybe Chooks will be able to answer them.
Yeah, she made some points.
Yes.
All of you made points that I think are interrelated. When we talk about asking a prospective partner, in this case for us women, it's men. Questions. No, we are not going to grill you this time. How sure are you that this person is going to tell you the truth? So really asking questions, how much can you glean? And it's not about even getting to know the truth. Can you handle the truth? If I ask you certain questions and you tell me the answer, I think part of the answers to me should also reflect in, can I handle your truthful answers? In the first place, am I believing your answers to be true? And if I'm believing them, can I handle them? Am I willing to continue the relationship based on that? Is this something I can walk around? Is this something I can walk with? But I still advise people to have it at the back of your mind. The answers you gave me today most probably will not hold water in 5 years' time. If these answers hold water in 5 years' time, I may not be receptive in 5 years' time, or I may not be receptive now, but I may be receptive in 5 years' time. It is so fluid, in issues of marriage, in issues of lifetime commitments, in issue of any relationship, in issue of things that have to do with the future. Is there really a cut and dried answer?
No, Chooks, we have been talking like women. I need to know. It's not you're not on a trial table.
Okay.
The way you're feeling, relax. We just want to know. We just want to know from the main perspective. We women, when we are looking for husband, do we really look for a husband? They say who findeth a wife.
Leave that. It doesn't work in Nigeria. It doesn't work in Nigeria.
Are you serious?
They did not say he who findeth a husband.
The women are looking for.
The women are looking for.
The men are also looking for.
I know.
But
It's a two-way thing.
traditionally, it's the man that is supposed to look for you.
Traditionally, according to African tradition now.
It's the man that comes to my house to say, I've seen a beautiful flower now.
Yes, but these days, the ladies also motivate the men to go, come and tell my father.
That's true,
Well,
sir.
anyway.
What is this thing
now,
we are
for
doing?
the men, when you're looking for that beautiful flower, what informs you to begin to think, okay, this flower is rose, is a hibiscus, is this, it's beautiful, is a lily, it's beautiful. What are those characteristics that endure it, like they'll put in the scripture, endure it, that a man is looking for in a woman?
First, I always love to personalize these kind of things. First is connect. You must connect with me. And
what does connect mean?
yes,
I was
yes,
wondering,
yes,
on which
yes,
level?
yes.
Chemistry.
Connect. Like I'm going to personalize it. When I met my wife, it wasn't like we didn't cut for too long. I had made up my mind I was going to get married. That was a very long time, and even while I was in the university, I was hoping to get married because I had looked out for things. Now, a lot of things were going to be on board, and my cousin did tell me something that I picked very well. She told me then, you have to get married early. And I asked her why. She said, you look handsome, you are intelligent, you have good prospects, and if you don't get settled early, you might be confused in the future. Because when wealth starts coming,
you're handsome.
yes, and you know too.
They don't know what is going on.
and she said, when money starts coming, you will be confused because then you wouldn't know what the lady is coming out for. The lady might be coming for your career, might be coming because of the car you drive, might become because of the position you occupy in the office, might become because of how you look. So the most important is when you are looking out for a lady, you should have made up your mind what you want. And that puts me in a prepared mood. I needed to know who would marry me, not who I will marry. Reason being that I knew my strengths and my weaknesses. Domestic-wise, I'm a failure. So I needed someone that could meet that part of me. I was over-pampered, if I will use that word. So from the time I was in the school, I needed to have someone do some certain things. So my younger sister used to come to the house, to my house in school, cook for me, do all manner of those home jobs. So I needed someone that would understand that part of me. I always say that when it has to do with making money, if you tell me money is in a high tension, before you close your eyes and open it, I'll pick it and give to you. But when it has to do with those other ones, I wouldn't be able to do. So I needed someone that would be that strength in me. And God helped me. At the time I was getting married, I had nothing. So it was easy for me to pick who would be there. I didn't want pressure from home. I didn't want pressure from family. I didn't want to hear my mother is this, my father is this. I didn't want anything. I was an independent mind, and I am still an independent mind. So I didn't want anything that would come in between me, making me look on some people, because I didn't want anybody's money. Most times, most guys these days look out for what the lady has or what the parents of the ladies have. I never cared about that. For whatever reason, I knew that I was going to be able to provide for my family. But whatever gave me that confidence, I didn't know. But I had that in my subconscious mind that I was going to provide for. So I was looking for someone who would be able to manage whatever I'm going to bring. So that helped me make my decision. I saw my wife the first day I saw her. The first question I asked her, are you married? She asked me, will you marry me?
Ah. Oh God.
Wait.
She's your friend, you can ask her. That was the first question. I'm sure if her boss is watching, because I met her with her boss. It was a competitive market, and I met her in a place. Her boss was with her. Her boss still calls me my son-in-law. Because it was in front of her boss, and I said, are you married? She said, will you marry me? I said, maybe. In 3 months, we got married.
Can you imagine that?
But several, because I always tell guys, listen, you don't have to cut for too long. Because there are some characters you see in marriage. And by the vows of marriage, you tolerate such characters. But when you begin to see such characters in courtship, you're able to break out. Because there are lots of characters that would come based on who the lady is or who the guy is. And because both of you have made vows in your marriage, so you learn to tolerate each other. But when you have long courtship, those characters that are to come out in marriage begin to come out in courtship where there is no vow. It's easy for the lady to go. That's why you see somebody say that after 4 or 5 years. What are you doing with the man after 4 or 5 years? Are you graduating from the university?
But Mr. Chicks, I have a question for you. Before you came in, we're discussing about the kind of issues, the kind of lies that can break a marriage. You're just talking about vows and characters. So in this explanation you just give now about character and vows and all that, that is a basis for divorce, right?
Yes, it is a basis for divorce. In
fact, it's not just an divorce, it's annulment.
Yes. In the Catholic
It's
Church,
annulled.
in the Catholic Church, lies in that manner is a basis for divorce. And again, it could come in a different way. Yes, the guy may have seen that. He could have also had faith based on what his pastor may have told him, that when you get married, things could get better. It may not be, but I fault him where he tells the lady. He didn't tell the lady.
Yeah.
But in a case where the lady knows, and actually I believe alongside with the guy, and in the long run their faith didn't work as planned.
Okay.
Personally, I wouldn't think it should lead to that. They could find a ground to resolve it, because fine, there is a lot of things that could come up in marriage. If a lot of complications, I'll say. At that point in time, you will be asking, what would the sister be doing? And in the area of procreation, how would they have children and all that? I advise the both of them, if this were to be a real reality, or if it's a real life story, I would advise the both of them, if their love is still intact, they could find a way to solve that problem. Where the love is not intact, most times I am not an advocate for divorce, but I'm always an advocate for happiness. Whatever makes the lady, the man happy, because you wouldn't entangle your life into a lifestyle that will be frustrating you all through your life, and you call it marriage. It's no longer marriage. Depression will set in, frustration will set in, anger, bitterness, every wickedness will come in. The person will always see the person as holding him or her from moving forward. So it's a matter where you discover that this is what this guy did, and you discover that you can no longer move forward. At that point, you discover you can't move forward. Move your way, go separate ways. But if you think you both can move forward, then you can work out your marriage.
Okay, another question I want to ask you is domestic violence. Why I'm asking this question is because I haven't had any personal experience, anybody that said, oh, I've been beaten at home, but I have read on social media where, you know, a lady comes and reports about domestic violence, excuse me, and people have different opinions. Oh, is your husband, stay, take it, oh, pack your things, go away. Is there domestic violence? Is there a degree to the one that will make you pack your things and go? Is there a degree to the one that will make you stay? What level?
I've had people come to me with this kind of situation in real life, and I always tell the lady, if you sense any threat to your life, leave. Only those who are alive talk about marriage.
Yeah.
There's no marriage for the dead.
If we go back to what you asked him earlier and what he said, I think most of these things are interconnected. When you talked about vows and commitment, I think basically that is what marriage is about. You know, I'm still going back to that, what we said, asking questions before marriage and finding out things. This lady you told us about who married the guy who was sterile could have asked all the questions in the world, but he intended to hide that. It did not come to light till it was too late, you know. So the basic thing I think people should think about when getting married is, how committed are you to the idea of getting married? And then, how committed is that partner of yours to the idea of getting married? I think that is why our ancestors, our grandparents, had it well. Most of people in my side of the country, our grandmothers, will keep telling us, me, I never saw my husband till the day after I married him. And they lived for 40 years because they were marrying for the sake of marriage only. The minute you get married, you know it has been drummed into your ears. This is a spiritual institution. It has got rules that have been laid down by scriptures, whichever one you follow, and you follow it to the letter. If we go back to the three major Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they almost say identical things where marriages are concerned, and they do not lead us astray. You know, when you talked about meeting your wife, I love those kind of meetings. Are you married? Will you marry me? Yes, I can. You know, when I sense that person, that is what they want. They are looking for marriage for the sake of marriage. The soul, the true spirit, not wedding. Not people that are ready to fight over colors of the day. Not people that are ready to walk out because the caterer said on that particular day, that particular menu you want will not be available. They are ready to actually collapse the entire thing, you know. Those are people that are out for weddings. Those are not the people that you go for. But in your own kind of situation, I think we should, that is what we should be discussing, the essence of marriage itself. So if you are out to marry for the sake of the true marriage, and you get a partner, and God always guides you. If that is what you have in mind, you know, whatever we do, we should not detach ourselves from the spiritual assistance that we have. Many people have forgotten that part. Everything we do in life, there's a spiritual guidance and connection to it. So if you open your heart to the Lord, He will guide your steps towards that person who has exact. If it's a Ephizi you are looking for, He will take you to an Ephizi spouse, and you will have an Ephizi marriage and live an Ephizi life. You know?
When I was in school, I used to desire that I'll marry a doctor and one that does not live in Nigeria, or maybe he'd come to Nigeria and then you'll have to travel all over the world. And of course, I met him. But you know,
Ephizi marriage.
No, what I'm saying is you having a desire. He's the party kind of person, and he likes He just likes everything loud, 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 you know, that kind of thing. You don't have to stay in the house all day. You should always go somewhere, get together, meet up with friends and all.
Outgoing.
So that was the kind of person he was. But there were other things that were dangerous about that relationship, like the pressure for sex, one, and then also he was not that kind of person that thinks God exists and then we should worship a God or we should do anything for God, and that was like a turnoff. I'm like, why would you say something like that? Where did you come from? He says he's not questioning the fact that there is no God, but he doesn't think we do anything for God. And I'm like, no, this guy, no, not you, not you. So, but actually, I wanted a particular thing, and I found it. Well, when that one left, the kind that I really desired, knowing that, okay, when I want to settle down, this is what I want to settle down with. This is the kind of man I want. This is the kind of family I want. And this is the kind of marriage I want. And this is what I want my marriage to represent. And I see somebody in that light, and I pray it stays like that.
No, he's going to
Okay,
stay. I know
so-
your wedding is coming up real soon. And I'm happy for you. But you know, you were talking about the spiritual angle to marriages. I quickly remember that during our own time, I was back before the amalgamation of Nigeria. Parents,
Hallelujah.
That was like what?
Don't mind.
1900s.
Can you imagine?
She's always like, she likes to make herself look like an old school. Don't you see her hair?
Can you speak on me? All right. So, the parents were very instrumental when it came to marriage. You know, the person you're marrying, in fact, in my town then, it was said that when you're born, a young boy comes with the father or the mother and they drop a coin.
Yes,
in your baby
betrothal,
bag.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So, and that indicates interest. And a lot of times, that person ends up marrying you. But they would have watched you over time in asking questions. I probably may not ask you, what is your relationship with soap and water? I would probably not ask you how many times you take your bath, but I would rather go and ask about your family. Do you people have history of madness? Do you have pathological liars in your family? Do you have
Cancer, high blood pressure,
people who
I need to know.
the sickness part may not really be an issue for me, because a lot of times most sicknesses like diabetes and all that, you can manage them, you can even control them so you don't get there once the person has a willpower. Your family history, do you worship a particular deity that I don't believe in? Because on like terms, sometimes they say attract, but sometimes too they repel. So if I'm going to marry somebody who believes in tit for tat, it's not going to work. If I marry somebody whose family believe, okay, if you slap me once, we'll slap 20 times, it's not going to work. So if the mother and the father of the man you're marrying, it's if have that forgiving spirit, has that transparency, is truthful, it's easier. I'll tell you a story. I recall when I was getting married, I went to see my mother-in-law for the first time. I wore very horrible things, very horrible clothes. And first time in her house, she expected me to go to the kitchen, help out, blah, blah. Well, it didn't even occur to me. It's your house. What the hell am I doing
What
in
am
your
I
kitchen?
doing? What am I doing?
So I sat in the parlor, I crossed my legs, she brought food, we ate. I pushed the plate one side, she carried her plate. Is it my business? And, so she started crying, that they're going to bring her one psychedelic woman that will not do anything. Eventually, she ran into somebody who knew my family very well. The woman said, is it the same child born of this man and this woman? He said, yes. He said, go and sit down. If it is this woman and this man that gave birth to this girl, she's pulling your legs. And I'm proud to say that up till date, I remain one of my favorite daughters-in-law.
What Zainab said is on point. What you said is on point. Now, most times the young people now, forget I'm still young, but people who want to marry these days don't look at all of this. Most people, the vibes of the whatever thing of social media has destroyed a lot of foundations. Forget what we had in our time. During our time, the social media wasn't there to mislead a lot. Many are misled today by that. And again, I'll say this. connections. I don't want to look as if I'm attacking the church. Some people lifestyle in church has also become a deceitful act to some people. What do I mean by that? You see some brothers who come to church and give a life of a brother in the church. Hypocritical lifestyle. Because that is what the church needs to see in you. And the sister gets carried away by he's a prayerful brother, he's always in church, he comes for midweek program, and she gets married to a brother in church without actually knowing who the brother in church is outside the church. You understand? So, and you see the connect of the wealthy connecting to the wealthy. The son of a nobody can marry the daughter of a somebody. Those are the problems of today. But in the real sense of it, the spiritual will always guide you right. I'll tell you this. I made preparation of my marriage before I met my wife. And I prayed. And my wife was like, she was always telling me then, you know her very well. She was like, tell me, go and sit down, you're a small boy, go and look for people to deceive. Because our age difference is 1. So you know that the women are always like bigger. So she was, go and sit down, you're a small boy. And even when my mother-in-law, she told me this, that when she saw me, she was like, where is this small boy coming from to come and deceive my daughter? Nobody believed it, but there was that spiritual thing in me. Because there was someone I almost got married to, but eventually we didn't get married. And when I met my wife, I was so strong she was the one. And everything that was to push against it, because I had that strength, I needed to get that thing I wanted. My wife had a spouse who was someone, she had someone who was also wishing to marry her, who was always, who had almost everything, a man. A beautiful lawyer in Port Harcourt, doing so well with cars, planning a lot of honeymoon abroad and all this. And the only prayer I made was, Lord, this is David and Goliath. This man is Goliath and David. Lord, fight my battle. That was the only prayer. And how she untangled from that relationship. Till today, she said she didn't know what happened, but she knew that everything I said, she was just saying yes and was following me. The spiritual plays a lot of role in marriage.
Well, for me, apart from the spiritual, I'm particular about I know we've talked about background, but my number one foundation when it comes to background is love. Were you raised with love? Growing up, my parents, they got this whole marriage, you just meet, you marry, and then you start having kids. So they did not really understand love. Individually, I think they do, because I know my parents love us, but together, it's hard. So it's more like, okay, Robin, okay, later, bye-bye, this one. It was a very nonchalant upbringing, you know. And me, I am one person.
But you're expecting your parents to be hugging and kissing in front of you.
Public display of affection.
No.
Not really.
That's
but
the traditional way.
when it comes to decision making, when it comes to commitment to raising us, when it comes to school runs, when it comes to even things like eating together. eating together. I really, really want those things. So for me, when I meet a guy, I'm not even interested in you. I'm interested in your family. How do you relate with your siblings? How do you relate with your parents? Do you call and say I love you at the end of the call? I mean, that thing for me gets me.
That's the social media.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Sorry.
That's the social media.
No, I respect.
This is way before social media became a thing.
Okay, it's media only.
Always wanted.
Yes, it's just media.
Seriously.
Listen.
It's you know, it's like it's a part of me that I was lacking, and it's something that I want. So some people may lack money and want a rich spouse.
A couple, the son of a couple that will come to you should be the one that will call the mom and tell the mom at the end of the Mommy, I love you.
You see, that could be easily deceived. What I tell guys is this, and this is a fact. As a lady, if you want to marry, try and know the father of your guy. What Liz said, I was trying to connect what Liz said with what Zainab said, spiritual and parental. When you know the father of your guy, you're going to see some of the things your guy is hiding from the father. go and look out for the mother of the lady you want to marry. Some of the things she might be hiding, you will see from the mother.
But there's a flip side. There's really a flip side. There are men I know. There's this person, he's late now, unfortunately, distant relative, and he's known to be an evil in the sense he's strict, he's hard, he's sadistic, he's whatever. All of his sons are extremely fine gentlemen. He treated their mothers like trash, you know. But they now rebelled because they have seen the repercussions of such.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Good.
So there's a flip side. What she said she wants, it's not bad, but it's still back to what we said. When you are marrying, look for somebody that you have a common interest. When I said that, Efizi, I wasn't talking in sarcasm. There is a woman that enjoys the party life and she can sustain it for 60 years. She should look for somebody that can complement that lifestyle. He may either be a party person like her, or he may be a quiet homebody that will run the house and the children when she's when she's do you understand? So what you said, you are right. You know, what still another Hausa proverb. They said, every bird makes the sound that his parents make. You cannot get an eagle making the sound of a chicken. So that is where you're coming from. But there are some that grow
Exceptions.
up, yes, and they actively rebel.
Especially
Against
for
what
negative
the-
things. There are things
Yeah.
I probably don't like my parents did, and I saw it and got irritated. But growing up, because I didn't like it, it's like when we were in secondary school as a younger student, the seniors were always beating us, you know, and I didn't like any of it. When I became a senior student, became a prefect, I took one resolution. I wasn't going to cane anybody, and I never touched cane until I left school. So there are things people
May I stood up to
would
do
do.
I flogged.
I didn't. No,
I stood up to the
what I
boys.
didn't like about my parents is
Good ones.
anything anybody comes to report about us at home,
You're
we will
guilty.
keep saying it's not. We didn't do it. They'll just backhand us. It's a lie. So unfortunately, I wish I didn't react to that. There's nothing you'll tell me my child did that I'll accept. But maybe in front of you, I'll be like, these children, they don't hear what. But what my child comes and tells me is what I'll accept, because I grew up almost my entire life being punished for things I've not done because somebody said I did. Do you understand? So you may have flogged.
What I took out from my parents, my dad used to flog. For every little thing, my dad would flog.
Don't tell me you flog your children.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
That's
Are
the
you
other
against
side
that?
of me. I don't flog. I would rather
Dialogue.
yes, I would rather use your game to punish you, use my incentive, because I read about it that you could actually get the best of a child without raising a cane on the child. And there are times we got used to the flogging. The man will know we will do everything, because one of the crimes we used to commit then, you know, where we grew up, you must learn, go to swim at the waterside. And they will tell you, don't go to swim at the waterside. These days, children swim at the swimming pool. We never had the privilege of going to the swimming pool,
Yeah,
go to the
swim in the
waterside.
river.
She knows that place, and when you come back, your eyes are red, and they gave you
Yes.
No,
mouth
if it's red, you know what to do.
you just do like this. You see, we know where we grew up.
Oh,
you
then
know?
your eyes will become white.
Then there are
I
some
don't know
leaves.
if you
Nothing
want.
really works.
There are some
Yeah,
leaves.
that's it,
They
that's
told us
not
there are
work.
leaves. They will tell us. We'll tie those leaves.
Yes.
Those leaves. We're tying
I
those
think it
leaves
was
so that
elephant carrot
yes,
looking grass.
yes, elephant grass. You tie it. When you tie it, we believe that when you tie it, you've tied the
mouth
mouth of
of
the
your
person
I
that
will
parents.
was.
ask you a question.
So by-
There's another one too, like a big stem. You cut it out, put it in your
in
mouth.
mouth.
Oh, I don't know.
So we believe, but by the time when we finish all these rituals and get back home, the man
They
is
still
waiting for
flog
us.
you.
So all we now learned was that we'll come and we'll pad ourselves and wait for the flogging. Now,
Wedges.
what am I trying to say? Despite the flogging,
You still
we
did
still
it.
did all that we were doing. So I realized that in me, it couldn't change. There are ways I speak with my children today, and they don't get back to whatever thing they had done that made me to get at that point. In fact, I've gotten to the point that my children don't like me raising my voice. Now, before I could raise my voice, my son is crying. And that gives me joy, because I have come to know that he has known what is right and what is wrong without me flogging him.
Before I wanted to
When I
say
was
to-
growing up, what he just said now, I hated it when my late dad raises his voice to scold me. I'd prefer he flogs me. But for him, he believes he shouldn't flog a child, that goats are the ones to be beaten. So if he talks to you, you should listen and take that instruction. But when you've done something wrong, of course, I know I've done something wrong, but the things he would say, the way he would level it up, you begin to think, did I do something that bad? And I'll start crying, but I wouldn't let him see me crying. I'll go and hide inside my wardrobe, and everyone will be
You
looking
haven't
for me.
achieved anything.
Everyone will be looking for me, and they'll say, where is she, where is she? It was one day my sister caught me, because this was my own form of penance. Like, I think about it deeply. Although I did not do that thing that made him angry with me, but the day she found out that I used to enter the wardrobe, hide there to cry, she went to tell my father. And from that day, it reduced the way he would raise his voice, but that doesn't mean that he would not scold you when you did something wrong. So for me, that form of discipline was okay. The other one was the naughty chair. You've done something wrong, he knows there's a particular minute in the house where maybe you're supposed to have yogurts and cakes or something like that, apart from lunch. And that was when you're making a hell of a noise in the house, and you say, Titilayo. When he calls me Titilayo, I know I've done something wrong. Usually he'll call me Tai Tai.
Oh, Tai Tai.
Yes.
Okay.
So if he calls you Titilayo, come and sit down there. And that's when he's maybe reading a book or he's studying or something. And you sit down there and you're like, oh God, why can't he just let me go now? No. Everybody will have enjoyed whatever they had to enjoy. And you're there. Then later you give you a strict warning, and then you say, get away from here. And that's no, but it worked. It worked.
Now, what I want to know, let me throw it up into the house. There are a lot of times ladies, sometimes even men, but mostly ladies, they know a particular guy is bad, and they still go into the, forever relationship, marriage. Speaking with example, a man is a swindler, he's a Yahoo person or Yahoo plus whatever. It's a no. And you go in hoping to change that man. How does that work? Are you good?
I don't know where they got that mentality that you can change a man. When that man was growing up, when he was a child, what was the kind of discipline that was instilled in him? Okay, that is what is going to get to that trajectory point where he becomes a man, he could live with what he has been taught. But if he got to a point where in society he got influenced by the negative attitude, misconduct, and moral decadence, I'm sorry, it's hard to change, except God could change the person, sort of, but you as a woman, you're only putting yourself into that black hole I mentioned the other time. Really, you can't change that kind of thing. And for women who still going ahead to marry that person, I do not think it's love. I think it's just because of what they think they will enjoy from being in that relationship.
Well, it's emotional neediness, I think. Those women are so desperate to be relevant in somebody's life. When people do...
Emotional greediness.
No,
Neediness. She said
neediness. They are
neediness.
so needy, They want to see, maybe they are not fulfilled emotionally in their own families, maybe their parents, or they have not been made to feel important or significant. They now look at these men as charity cases, as pet projects. Okay, maybe I can change this man and then I've achieved something in life. But as everybody knows, you can't change people. And some of these men are deceptive. There's a very good friend of mine. She was a junior of mine in secondary school. And she was dating this guy, a non-alcoholic. And in my religion, you are not even allowed to sip alcohol. And I said to her, what are you doing with this man who is obviously sinning by our laws? And she was like, no, he said I should be praying for him. And, do you understand? And I could see she was emotionally needy. She wanted to be the one that has changed this person. She wanted to be that he asked for her help. I don't have to marry you to help you in that case. So I think there's emotional neediness as well.
Have you thought about the fact that someone really wants to get involved with some bad guy?
Some people just have
Want to get involved with the bad guy?
For what?
It's a turn on for a lot of people.
Of course. The school I went to, I know about a particular lady. She must not go out with you if you're not a hard guy. What's she doing with you? She wanted to be identified with the bad guy.
She still wanted to be validated in society that this girl can only handle hard guys. There is still some emotional starvation on her part.
All right, on a very parting note, I want to take maybe just a quick one. What would be your advice to your fellow young girls, a very brief one, who are at the moment looking for hookups for marriage?
Well, for me, go for your friend, go for love. Love is very important. Don't let these
Thank
people
you.
deceive you.
Say that.
Marry for exactly the right reasons, for what marriage was created for.
Okay. Titilayo. Oh, tie, sorry.
Okay. Look out for that person that compliments you.
All right.
Well, I say look for the person that will complete you. For me, I looked for the person that will complete me. I needed someone to complete me. I knew the area I was lacking. I knew that if I had all the things in this world and I had nobody to cater for me, despite the fact that I'm a grown man, I still need a mother, a wife that will treat me like a baby. That's all I looked out for, and I got one.
All right. On that note, we say bye-bye. I'm sure you're looking to hear
You didn't
my
tell us your
final
own.
thoughts. Well, that's why I'm the anchor.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
This is NTA International.
I am Elizabeth Abai. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Naja'atu Tijani.
Here on the NCA, we present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NCA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Ojibo.
24 hours.
lift up Nigeria with my voice. I will lift up Nigeria with my voice. I will shout, sing, and speak of all the glories. I will lift up Nigeria with my voice.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android, Intelsat 901 degree east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Awareness on public access to information to save lives, build trust and develop sustainable policies. Efforts to promote potentials of tourism to create job opportunities as the world marks World Tourism Day. Safeguarding the lives of health practitioners in the face of coronavirus pandemic. Plus, a community in the Federal Capital Territory seeks government's presence. Many thanks for joining us on this week's edition of The Correspondents. It promises to be engaging and entertaining. I am Tessie Omiri. Welcome on board. Let's begin with the tourism sector. The 2020 edition of the World Tourism Day celebrates the role of tourism in providing opportunities beyond big cities, as well as preservation of cultural heritage. Correspondent Oinaya Kalu Oka examines the significance of the day and its impact on rural communities in Nigeria.
Nigeria is made up of more than 250 ethnic groups with hundreds of villages. Each village is blessed with abundant, unique natural and cultural heritage. For many rural communities, tourism means opportunities, and it gives rural communities the ability to protect and promote their culture and heritage.
Actually, key plan is to work at the rural areas. That is the areas that the people need most to understand about culture, to understand about their tradition, about their identity, and that is one of the major problems actually that is affecting our communities now. All these issues of insurgency and all this sort of thing is just people don't know their identity, they don't understand their culture and so on.
Wow, what a lovely place. Rigachiku is a place to be. This is where the Abuja Children's Park and Zoo is located. And just behind me is the Aso Rock and so many other tourist attractions.
We come here often to just watch people play football, come here to play some other sports. And then if you go deeper, it's the zoo. We go there to see various animals.
For many rural dwellers, this place has provided jobs and economic empowerment.
I like this place because it's helping me by giving me some money. I feel happiness and joy.
As countries look to tourism to drive recovery with the impact of COVID-19, focusing on projecting the rural areas, experts say will assist in opening it up.
This is a chance or an opportunity for us to develop the rural areas. We try as much as possible to create infrastructure, bring security, because security is paramount for any tourism to flourish. It is need for that community policing that we are talking about, so that tourists, both local and international tourists, when they come, they will be protected.
Say, for example, if they are developing some sites, say, in one of the rural areas, those sites or tourism attraction requires people to now develop and construct that. It requires people to actually move and go and see that place. Because people need to go and see that place or use their facilities, then things will happen. They have to construct roads that leads to that. That to ensure that electrification is done to that particular area. That to ensure security of that particular area. So really, tourism, rural development, therefore, bring tourism within the community as opposed to people coming in, everybody just migrating to the cities.
Federal government says it is prepared to position tourism as topmost priority by promoting the important role it plays in the social, cultural, and economic development of the country.
I know that the president has finally taken a look at tourism and decided that tourism is a priority sector in this country. I know that the Honorable Minister for Finance and the Director General of the Budget have taken a look at tourism and decided that come 2021, tourism is going to get better access to funding. Now, our focus is domestic, our focus is digital, and our focus is both collaboration in terms of development of human capital and infrastructure. I think if we put those 5 or 6 things on the table together, I think the industry stands a huge chance in comparison to the past in taking a quantum leap forward in terms of where we are, what we are.
In the rural areas, there are so much prospects, especially now, one of the, thriving, institutions or understanding to create this kind of awareness is this issue of eco-museum. Eco-museum is a very important, institution which we want to tap at. And eco-museum, the concept of eco-museum is actually to involve the rural communities. When you go as a tourist, you visit, you see things in situ. That means things in their actual places, positions where they are used. The communities, the farming system, the cooking utensils, even some other cultural displays, festivals, and so on. This in situ. So when you go as a tourist, you see this and you understand the community as a whole.
This year's celebration with the theme Tourism and Rural Development, many say, apart from underscoring the important role tourism plays in preserving and promoting cultural heritage, it will also help in curbing urban migration.
I quite agree with you, Oinaya. Tourism gives communities, the ability to protect and promote their natural surroundings, as well as their cultural heritage. Many thanks. And still talking about another important day in history. 7th November 2015, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, declared 28th day of every September each year as International Day for Universal Access to Information to highlight the importance of guaranteeing access to information. Correspondent Anthony Forson examines the essence of the day.
Universal access to information means that everyone has a right to seek, receive, and impart information. Access to information is more and more recognized as a prerequisite for sustainable development and for claiming human rights. And as this has been brought to the front burner, what does it translate to?
The UN General Assembly proclaimed the freedom of access to information as a potent instrument to embolden democracy and the rule of law.
What it means, importantly, is information, developmental information for the people, to understand exactly what the government is doing to better their lives. Information that will give them better appreciation of their leadership. Information that will build unity, love, and direction of national development.
Because journalists try to unearth what is hidden. So most people are not always willing to provide access to information.
Has this any impact on governance and democracy?
The fact that we have a democracy in place is one sure guarantee for, some level of access to information.
You will observe, and rightly for that matter, that many countries tamper with rights of people, rights to association, freedom of speech, freedom of free expression, freedom of association, including religion. But thank God, some countries are also doing the right thing, guaranteeing all these freedoms as they appear in their constitution.
Looking inwards, what is the Nigerian experience like?
For government to ensure that all these things are also entrenched and practiced, we have the Freedom of Information Act, which was established, which was proclaimed into law, or which became law in 2011. And all these freedoms are guaranteed. But most of all, we have the Constitution, which is the supreme law. And the Constitution also guarantees all these freedoms.
These are the basic issues the average Nigerian should be fed with, this kind of information. Because we're in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society that as we have here. A lot of people are faced with many diverse information. They perceive government in different ways based on ethnic, religion, political parties. So to harmonize this and really carry the populace along, developmental information is the key.
In our own society, we have moved a step forward with the Freedom of Information Bill. Actually, the job is left to us as journalists to take advantage of the FOI Act to have access to information.
Joining us to talk more on the Day for Universal Access to Information is NTA's Information and Culture Correspondent, Anthony Forson. You're welcome to the correspondence.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
When you say universal access to information, it's also known as the day when people have the right to know. What do you mean by that?
It simply tells you that the information ecosystem has been liberalized. And by that, people need to know. People must know what is happening, and it gives room for accountability and good governance. Now, access to information. Access to information, you want to ask, what is happening. You want to know what is happening around you. And information, they say, information is power. Now, when the people have information, they are able to now think appropriately, think positively, and act positively. Without information, people live in the dark. And with our contemporary environment today, people are eager. We live in a world that is tightly knitted. Like we say, we are in a global village, so everybody wants to know. So it's your right. Like it's enshrined in Goal 16 of the SDGs. Goal 16, Article 10 provides room for people to know. People must know. People must be informed. So setting aside a day, for instance, to say, okay, fine, it's a day it's the International Day for people to have access to information that everybody must know. It's a wake-up call that people must have access to information, whichever way. But be careful. Not all information. Not every information. Because today we live in an environment where fake news, disinformation and all that. So information must key. And right information at that too.
Okay, information they say is power, and then you're saying people must be given the right information and at the right time.
True.
When we say protection of human rights, can you share with us the Nigerian experience?
Brilliant. You see, the Nigerian experience gives you a thumbs up that Nigeria is doing brilliantly well. How? The Freedom of Information Act. That in itself gives you room to access information, ask for information. I take blame, for instance, as a practicing journalist. Some of us are just lazy. The Freedom of Information Act gives you the power to seek information, ask information. And why is it so? You seek information, you impart information to people, and then people understand. The Freedom of Information Act, for instance, is not just for practicing journalists. No, you as a citizen, you can use the Freedom of Information Act and request for information and get to know. You can use the Freedom of Information Act and write to your local government chairman, your governor, and say, look, I want to know what is happening here. I want to know how much these funds, how these funds have been disbursed or expended. That's just so Nigeria is on track. And again, the government embarked on campaigning against hate speech, fake news. These are all danger. They are upclassing that. So government understanding that, look, this is dangerous for our system. That's why it came on board with platforms that will help in curbing all these negative tendencies.
Given the theme for this year's celebration, which is right to information in times of crisis, and everybody knows that the coronavirus pandemic is still with us, how do you place this information, access to information and coronavirus pandemic?
The COVID-19 pandemic is a global issue. And here again, advocacy plays a key role, because if you don't know how to prevent, how not to contract it, you will just go into it. And I'll tell you, probably advocacy has really done well for Nigeria in terms of containing the spread of the virus. Even though we are not there yet, people understanding the veracity of the disease, people understanding how to protect themselves and the right information at the right time.
Can you tell us what programs and policies do Nigeria have in place, talking about the coronavirus pandemic?
Of course, you could see jingles going on all over the place. You could hear messages. There are flyers. There are box SMSs that are sent to people's phones. And in some localities, you even see town criers, for instance, going about and they say, wear your face mask, respect social distancing, and all that. So all this simple information. I mean, they've done well.
Thank you so much for giving us power this morning. Like you said, information is power. It is on that note that we conclude this segment of the program. Thank you for being with us today. Hope to have you some other time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Still to come, live in Piakasa community in the Federal Capital Territory. Join us again.
The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has been declared by the World Health Organization as a global pandemic. While clinical trials are ongoing for a vaccine and a possible cure, there is no known treatment for the coronavirus. Nigeria has recorded some of these cases, and people are advised to take these preventive measures to keep themselves safe and contain the further spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or use hand sanitizers all the time. Maintain social distancing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice respiratory hygiene. If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Do not panic. Stop the spread of unconfirmed news. Follow the official government news outlets and report all cases immediately. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back to The Correspondents. Let's talk about health. The importance of prioritizing and addressing patient safety by all stakeholders have become pertinent, especially in the face of the present pandemic. Health practitioners in Akwa Ibom State assert that to achieve optimum patient protection, health workers' safety should be made a priority. Correspondent Ifoma Aikoji has the details.
Being a patient almost always entails physical pain, uncertainty, and sometimes a loss of control. Patients visit healthcare facilities, most times expecting the health workers to soothe their pains and clear their doubts. But in seeking healthcare, reports show that thousands of patients across the world suffer avoidable harm, while some others are put at risk of both physical and emotional injury.
So many patients that are coming in and the swift attention sometimes is not always there. You know someone and the person will now tend to cause the doctors or the other health workers to attend to you swiftly. But the people that don't know anybody in that hospital or any health establishments tend to wait a longer period.
Recognizing patient safety as a global health priority, the World Health Organization has launched out to increase public awareness and spur global solidarity and action to promote patient safety. Some health workers say it is an obvious call to duty.
It's a health code, in our Hippocratic oath to maintain patient confidentiality. So it's very important that while discussing and talking with the patient, that all that he divulges concerning himself or any other matter is kept privately and give them the utmost medical assistance that is necessary.
Personally, I look forward to the day when health workers will place patients first before every other thing. Here and there, every time we hear of strike coming up and this coming up, and the truth is, it can actually be avoided, right? If we can put the patient first, and if we can understand that if we go on strike or if things happen like this, the people that pay the price are the patients. And in spite of the fact that we are health workers, we one day can become patients. And what happens when the person that you need to attend to you is not available?
We go extra mile to protect them. Sometimes they will complain that they don't have money for drugs, and we are like, get money from our pocket to assist them. So we can go that way to see that they are being protected.
Patient protection is a two-way thing. I protect the patient and I also protect myself. We have so many measures. Like this period of pandemic, as soon as you finish attending to the patient, you have to wash your hands, sanitize your hands, and also sanitize the patient. And whatever equipment we are using in the hospitals to attend to the patient, we make sure it is properly sanitized. And then we encourage our patients on the use of face masks.
However, with the current realities of the risk health practitioners face, particularly healthcare-associated infections and other hazards, the need to speak out for their welfare and safety as a prerequisite to patient safety has been brought to the fore.
If attention is given to the health workers, probably they will put in their best. But if their incentive and all those things are not given to them, they wouldn't give their best. I'm just thinking.
In the case of this whole pandemic and all that, we come out every day, we don't know who you are meeting, you don't know who you are seeing. Because the truth is, many times the patient won't give you the entire history, so you are at risk. protecting us, making us understand that we are protected, giving us all the things that we need to protect ourselves, will motivate you to come and meet this patient.
It is against this background that the World Health Organization seeks to engage stakeholders and adopt multimodal strategies to raise awareness on the importance of health worker safety and its interlinkage with patient safety. The slogan is Save Health Workers, Save Patients.
Yes, indeed, Ifoma, the safety of health workers has never been more urgent. Thanks a lot. Now to a community in the FCT. Power supply, a critical amenity needed to propel growth and enhance socio-economic activities, is an important commodity residents of Piakasa can hardly afford. Correspondent Aisha Bashir was in the community and brings back this report.
Piakasa community is located between Sauka and the CT gate along the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Expressway in the FCT. As one veers off the highway, a densely populated community which is grappling with electricity challenges.
For the past 4 months, if close to 5 months now, we are ration right just because the transformer is not okay. Please, I want government, they should look into that to help us, to help the community.
Our electricity, so far so good. It has been okay, but just that some people are facing challenges because they have been sharing the light one day on, one day off. So we are pleading for a new transformer for the people of Piakasa.
I've been in this Piakasa for 2 good years now, and it has been peaceful. But the problem here is electricity bills. The bills are just too much.
I'm not an indigenous of this town, but I've been living here for 12 years. Piakasa is a peaceful town, but the only issues we're having is the light. It's not that regular, so I just hope the government to be able to help us do something about the electricity. That's the only issues we're having. Piakasa is very peaceful, the roads are good, and everything is fine here.
Piakasa is one of the communities in Waru district in Abuja Municipal Area Council of the FCT. With a large population, Piakasa residents are predominantly from the Bagi tribe, mostly farmers and traders.
My name is Chigozen Namane Francis. So I live in Piakasa and I do business here. I've been here for more than 6 years. So I can say that this place is a very good place. Since I've been here, there's no issue of armed robbery or any terrorism. So business moves here.
Most of us are employed people here. The people that has jobs are not many. And most of our youth are farmers.
The newly appointed chief of the community, called Dekachi Josiah Bako, oversees the affairs of the community.
Piakasa is a village that God has blessed him through our ancestral. The greatest challenges I have, the best school in this Piakasa, the first best school in this Piakasa, Science Secondary School. People from nowhere, they are bringing their children to this school because this Piakasa, it was the best school. The school are no more here. They have took it here to Maitama. I want my science secondary to come back to its normal portion.
Government Secondary School Piakasa, which produced influential Nigerians in the past, is also on the bucket list of the community, which is soliciting government's intervention for a relocation back to Piakasa from Maitama.
The people of Piakasa sure need government's assistance, especially in the area of power supply, to enable improve their lives economically and socially. Many thanks, Aisha. And that concludes the correspondence this week. Thanks for watching, and do remember to join us again next week on another edition. You can follow our Twitter handle at FUOLUA NTA Correspondence. Don't forget to use the hashtag NTA Correspondence whenever you make a comment or ask a question. And a quick reminder that COVID-19 is still with us. The ease of the lockdown does not mean that the coronavirus pandemic is over. Continue to maintain personal hygiene hygiene by washing your hands with soap under running water every 20 minutes and abide by the physical and social distancing rules. More importantly, wear a mask, take responsibility, and stay safe. See you next week. Bye for now.
From dusk